Let your body relax in the chair. Feel the breath coming into your heart, in and out of that center of your body and your being. That beautiful place in your chest of love. The chalice of your heart. Where you find your spirit and your soul. And love and life experience. Where you find your gratitude and your caring. Just let that expand a little so it's bigger than your physical heart. That it reaches to the sides of your body. Maybe a little beyond. So that as each one of you do that, the room becomes filled with that heart energy breathing and beating together, ready to receive these beautiful messages of love and honoring for you. You that are here today as the family. You who help create this energy and receive this energy of love and honoring.
So it is a good day to you, huh? Very good to see your love, your light, your brightness. We need sunglasses to look at your energy. For those of you who we do not know, we are at Rhonda. And we bring with you that energy of love and unconditional love to hold you in that vibrational frequency. For you see, dearest beings of light, change is upon you. From your president in this country to Kryon, our dear friend, to all of you coming through the changes that are occurring. And we want you to give you a few energies, a few suggestions to help you work your way through that change. Is that all right? Anyone need a little extra help here? Or have we put you all to sleep already, huh? You understand that in that energy, we'll take a deep breath. You are indeed 100% responsible for everything that happens in your life. Oh. Sometimes it's sort of, it's not so easy to swallow that energy, huh? What do you mean? No, we are not responsible. It is my ex-husband that is responsible, huh? We are not responsible. It is the ex-wife. It is the family, the parent, the grandparent, the children, the blah, 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 blah. And that is exactly what it is. Blah, 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 blah. Because you, dearest beings of light, you are the creator of your universe. You are the light and the dark. Today is the 22, yes? You've got that duality building upon itself. You are the energy mixed in with the 7, with the... Now, we look at the numbers a little differently. We didn't read the book on the Tibetan way. You see, that 7 being in the divinity, it is because that flat place here is opening to your crown, to your higher information. And yet that foundation, as the leg goes down, does not always give you a strong energy to stand upon. That is the 7. You see, but those 2s, they have a very strong foundation and a curving back down to that crown of that energy. So you see, depends on how you look at it. Take the Tibetan way and make it your own. You understand, because that causes you to have that responsibility and know that everything that you are intending is what is being created. Woohoo! We are intending to win the lottery. Woohoo! We'll remind the lottery people about that, yes? So everything that you are intending comes from your heart, not your brain. Your heart creates the field around your body. The heart ignites the energy first. So think of what your heart is feeling. That is why we carry reminders in our energy to remind us to always think and drink of the will of Source, to remind us to keep our energy with our bracelets in our intention, to shift it in the consciousness of what you are indeed intending. Dearest beloveds, I love you so much. Your intention has brought me here again, reborn into your heart. Your intention is your creation, as it was mine. And just with your president in this country, I also was a catalyst of change. I was a catalyst that shifted consciousness. Now you saw what happened to me. I don't think that's going to happen to your president. And yet your intention is that force of activity. Your intention is that love. So I implore you to keep your love at the forefront of your energy. To keep your balance at the foundation of your creation. How is your heart feeling? Breathe into your heart daily. That is where I am, and the masters of your realm. It is indeed you. Each one of you who are the creative life force of this planet. What are you doing with that responsibility? You have taken steps to create a wondrous world. You've showed up here. You're willing to be the change that you wish to see on this planet. I am here to help, to assist, to grow, to embrace, and quite simply, to love. It is an old question, but I would ask you, when you are in a place of indecision, in a place of not quite knowing what to do, to ask yourself, what would love do? Remember, you are 100% responsible for everything. Celebrate that energy daily. Celebrate your life daily. And trust. Trust yourself, and you will know how to live. Trust those around you, for they are your creation and education. But most of all, love. Love you. Love the person sitting next to you. Love your light. Love all. I love you deeply. Namaste.
Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. I want you to feel the energy here in the room, which has shifted. We have spoken of this before. If you sit and listen to these later, these messages, these channelings, the same entourage that is in this room is available for you. As odd as that may sound in a linear way, God is not linear. We know the potentials of who would listen later. Did you hear? Did you feel the love that comes from Master Yeshua? Do you understand the message that is there? The Master in all of you is invited to meet the Master. All of you have light and dark. That was mentioned by Hadoranda. And now I will add to this. There are those who would say, Dear Kryon, I love the feeling I get when I listen to your voice. Indeed, the entourage is around me. I can feel it. I relax completely. The fears disappear. Somehow I know things are going to be better and the solutions I came for are doable for me. I listen to you and the energy, and I feel that there's hope for the planet, for me, for the things that I need and my children. And I'll say to you that this is acceptable, that you would love this. And I would say, do you understand where this comes from? That all of these feelings that you feel and the peace that you may have and the love that you may entertain that goes into your very cells, all of it is coming from a place that you originated from. All of it. Masters, each one, let me remind you of something. Number one, you came from the stars. Number two, you came from the great central source. God is inside. Number three, you were born magnificent. All of these things. And that which is from the Creator is what you feel when you hear me. When you hear Adoranda, when you hear Yeshua. Compassion, benevolence, pure love is the essence of God. And all the rest is the human puzzle. What if I told you, literally, that you could capture everything you might feel that is only in this channel? You could capture it all because it is there in you. Why are you resounding with this peace if it were not in you already? It's being recognized, it is being analyzed at some level and saying, I want it, I believe it, it's me. The next question is, what then gets in the way of the purity of the love that is you? And you might then start a laundry list, you call it. Well, there is this, and then there is this, and then there is this. And everything that you would then list to Spirit is of your own design. This is the human portion. This is the part that you control so completely. And yet you believe it may be chance or controlled by others. It isn't. The compassion that you may feel here is what will heal you today. I want you to get your metaphysical eraser out right now. And if you have a laundry list of what you believe is in the way of discovering all of these things, I want you to put them on the blackboard of your mind and start erasing them. And I want your mind to see them go away. Put the names, put the conditions. There are those who are here right now that are asking for healing and health, that are afraid of certain things. There are those who are reaching the end of their string, you might say, for difficulties in certain situations. I know what they are. I want you to list them on the blackboard right now. Then I want you to take your hand in your mind with the eraser, and I want you to start erasing them letter by letter. And I want you to feel so empowered and so much of the Creator that you are as you watch them disappear. And there would be those who would hear that and says, this is silly child's talk. Really? You ask the ones that are healed by doing these things because they're taking control of the things they thought they were not in control of. Those of you who are looking at your bodies and seeing the difficulties and erasing the names of what the doctor has given you, your cells are watching that go away letter by letter by letter. It's real. The conditions that you find yourself in life that are difficult or frustrating, I want to tell you, as the Creator that you are, that the very ethers and the angels around you are watching them disappear letter by letter. You're taking control. And when you leave this place, you'll know this because you're going to feel it. You're going to know that something has changed. Dear ones, you're not a victim of this world. You just aren't. You just aren't. Adironda said, you are the dark and the light. And you are. You can create the darkest for you. You can create the light for you. This is free choice. You probably thought that you're here in free choice, meaning you can do whatever you want to. I'll tell you, you are here because you are free to erase those things on the blackboard. That's why you're here. We need you to remain in joy. This planet is going to shift. This planet is shifting. One by one, when old souls start to erase that which is frustrating them and creating fear in their lives, they don't feel they're getting anywhere. I don't care how old or young you think you are, it has nothing to do with that. If you can live a life of balance and joy on this planet, I've told you this before, it's like a field. It's like an infection of joy in the planet. It goes into the planet, and you are serving this shift simply by being balanced. You don't have to go out and write a book or teach a course. You find the center and the joy that you have and deserve, and you start living it. And you don't let things push your buttons anymore. You start clearing the issues that you thought were unclearable. You start health that you thought wasn't yours. You start doing those the planet knows, Gaia knows, we know, and those around you know. It's a catalyst for the whole planet. You sit there and think you're one person. You're a collective of billions, trillions of those who are invested in creating a new human on a new earth after the shift. That's personal information. For you today in the room, for those who are sitting and listening, It's not planetary information as much as it is human by human. Old souls carry the most lifetimes, the most experience of any human on the planet. And that lifetime of experience doesn't just translate to wisdom. You carry in frustrations and fears, disappointments. And by free choice, now you can sort them out. With free choice and enablement, you can throw the things on the floor that don't belong to you anymore. Magnificent one who's made it past this shift. You're here on purpose. All of you. All of you. All of you. In the chairs in front of me. Designed to be here now and hear this message of empowerment for you. Some will still leave unconvinced. And I say to you, this is your free choice. This is the dark and light of it, dear one. And the dark inside you will say, nonsense, won't work, never has before. I'll tell you something. Give the light a chance. Because the conditions have changed. And we told you that before. Nothing is the same. The environment of what you've tried before is not the environment when you try it again. The body is listening in a new way. This planet is listening in a new way. The very ethers of co-creation and the field are listening in a new way. I would tell you this, the old soul is beginning to be the king of creation on planet Earth. And who is that? You. If you're hearing this, it's you. That is the message of all of us. In a time that is difficult, because it's a shift, a paradigm change. You're leaving the playground and starting to ascend in consciousness, and you're experiencing things you never saw, things you never felt. Don't interpret them as negative, dear ones. The things that are happening around you that are mysterious are not mysterious to God. Celebrate that which you don't understand, you don't know, as things you simply don't understand and don't know. But understand this, that the light is responsible for most of them. Hard to imagine, hard to believe. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. That's how growth happens. That is what is happening now. This is the message for today. And of course, another one coming later. And so it is.
Let your body just relax into that chair. Let it hold you up. Deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth with a nice big sigh. Letting the energy of the day just float above you as you clear your mind. Letting the currents, the frequency of the love in the room, letting it in even more deeply. Know that we are surrounded by love. We are surrounded by the acknowledgement of who we are as those who have chosen this human life this time around. And our cheerleaders on the other side of the veil who thank us for the work that we do. We come here. We come here in love, and we come here to be catalysts. Each one of us in our own way. And let that feeling of, yes, I am here to be a catalyst. Yes, I am here to shine. Yes, I am here to touch the lives of others through my love, through my heart, through my understanding. And I am am here to allow my life to be touched by the love and by the honoring that comes from so many places when we open ourselves to it. And when it comes through this evening with the love and the honoring message of Kryon.
Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. We've spoken before about that fact that the energy that is developed right now can be one that is completely different from a moment ago. The first few moments of the channel are always the one that posture your belief. Can you feel the shift? And there would be those who say, well, I'm not really sure, what should I feel? And the answer is different. Dear ones, you come into a place like this, and there is a countenance and an attitude that you have. It's not a bad attitude, it's just an attitude. It's one of listening. It's one of study. It's one of perhaps note-taking. It's one that may even be that it's part logical, part intellectual, part spiritual, but that is what you need in order to attend and listen and be. And now I'm asking you to stop all of that. I want you to take that which is yours, that comes with common sense and intrinsic knowledge of who you are, and put it forward. Almost like you were the shaman that I know you are. Dear ones, every single one of you comes in with an amazing amount of knowledge from being on this planet so many times. There's a tremendous library here of anyone who's listening that would fill the planet itself with wisdom and knowledge. If you could echo it, if you could bring it forward, if you could teach it, you'd fill libraries. I see this. So why don't you just be still and listen? I want you to first feel the fact that that which is inside you and starts to react is that which is the other side of the veil that's in you. You come in with something and it stays with you. It's not on the other side of the veil. You brought it. And that is the compassion and the love of God, the Creator, whatever you want to call it. It's the best friend you ever had because it is not separate from you. That's the biggest truth that we can give you. And in the process then of listening, I want you to hear something. I want to talk to you about the future just a little bit. I wish to talk to you about the things that are potentially here for you. The shift and the speed of the evolving human is completely and totally variable and is up to you. The dark-light balance of the planet is starting to shift and there's becoming more light. How fast will it take for the darkness to diminish to a place where eventually it will be a non-issue? And the answer is as long as it takes. Every civilization who has faced this has had its own scenario based on its past. You may have the same thing, but know this. These things will happen. How fast, how slow is up to you. The paradigm shifts that you're going to have, I have spoken about before, somewhat isolated, in channels that perhaps you have heard or not. This time I want to combine some. combination of the four things that I wish to speak of is an interesting one, because to you some are believable and some are not. And the ones that are not will be because of your past. And there'll be a part of your brain that say, well, things just don't work that way. And you will be one who is reciting a past energy that you've brought forward to judge with. You can't do that. You have to draw a demarcation line in 2012 of what you think is human nature. Because what I'm about to tell you will defy a lot of that. So the premise is this: human nature itself will start to evolve past what you thought it was or have experienced through your life. So you cannot take the past and project the future. And we've said that before. There is a scenario, a paradigm that you have used in all of your contests, in all of that which is sports, in all of that which is politics and government. It is a paradigm that is something you simply do. And the paradigm is this: that you have a contest, and there'll be player A or group A, or player B or group B. And they will compete and play until the end. One of them wins. The other one loses. And the paradigm is winner takes all. Apply this, see this, and it's everywhere. And you would say, well, what else is there? And that's the point. There is a what else. But dear ones, human nature has never seen it. We'll call it the win-win. And you will say, wait a minute, Kryon, you can't have a win-win when you have a sports contest. You have a scoreboard, you have players. Yes, you can, and it will occur to you, and that will be a system. You'll slap your heads and go, who ever thought of this? Where it's not exactly winning. Let me give you something to think about. Your politics is as an old energy as you can imagine. 200 years ago, it was new. It changed the planet. It was revolutionary. You had things that no one had ever heard of. The human rights that you have, the separation that you had between church and state, and all of these things, revolutionary, because the planet had never seen it. 200 years later, it is stagnant. Have you noticed? Doesn't work. The winner take all doesn't work. You cannot have representatives of both sides. You cannot have that different parties where one simply wins everything and takes over. What happens to the other? They fight the first one until it's their turn. And what do you have? Ineffective government. You're seeing it. It's not just now. Dear ones, you've been seeing it for a decade or more. What if I told you there is a more elegant way? There is a win-win. We have discussed this before. We'll talk about it again. What if there was the realization you don't need winner take all? It doesn't work. What you need is the best one that can not only compromise, but put the two together in the most sensible way. You don't need to elect a leader from one or the other. You need a complete and total separate group called the compromisers. And you will then elect one who is the best one to put the puzzles together. And the first one that thinks of that and implements it won't be an American. It'll come from some other source. And you will see it and go, oh, that might work here. Why is it going to be someone else? Because you're stuck in a rut. And you have history to answer for that, where nothing moves past winner takes all. You're going to have to see something from somewhere else that makes total sense, that is more elegant, to apply it here. What I'm telling you, let me ask you, doesn't that sound like a more elegant solution than what you have? Is it possible? You'd say human nature doesn't work that way. We can't elect somebody without a platform. What if the platform is solution? That's the platform. I'm going to run on the solution platform. What are your ideas? I'm going to solve the issues between red and blue. That's what I'm going to do. And that is then has another person who also does it. Who's going to be the one who gets the best solutions? And they're neither party. They belong to the S party, solution party. That's out of the box, isn't it? Completely out of the box of the government that you think is here. It's going to come from somewhere else. Win-win. Is it possible? And the answer is yes. Because of its elegance and its maturity, it will work. Dear ones, just like 200 years ago worked. It really worked because it was time to work. And this one will too. This is a new paradigm. You're going to see it. How soon are we going to see it? Not soon. But you will see it. And when it occurs, it's going to be a breath of fresh air. You're going to say, finally, somebody figured it out. Because winner takes all doesn't work. That's number one. Now we start to get to plans that you think won't work ever. Unless you take into consideration an advanced and more elegant kind of consciousness that works together. You have a system of building things, of manufacturing things, and you might call it corporate. They all fit parts together. And in order for it to work with an older human nature, there has to be hierarchy of management. You're all familiar with it, the one at the top, the one at the bottom. As the hierarchy goes down, the managers, the systems, the departments that are split off, and the workers. They all need each other to work. But let's say, for instance, that on the production line, there's an issue. And the production line is seeing something that is an issue because it's a problem nobody thought of. Right now, the process is this. Continue to manufacture dysfunctional things until management is informed. And then something interesting happens. You can only inform the management which is directly above you, who may not take it any further because there's somebody up there who doesn't like anybody taking problems to them. So suddenly you've got dysfunctional products that continue to be dysfunctional. And the ones on the production line are saying, why are we continuing to do something that doesn't work? That manager won't talk to the one above them, who will never hear the information. If it even gets there, it takes a long time. Meanwhile, sales start to drop because there is a dysfunctional product being made. Are you starting to see the issues of hierarchy? It is fraught with human nature, with ego, with jealousy, with money and greed. What if there were a better system? Right now, there isn't. Because in a linear fashion of human nature, that's as good as it gets. What if I could tell you something's coming? A new system you've never seen before. A system you say cannot work. What if the ones on the production line say, what would be the answer? And they get together and say, well, if you move this to here, it won't be dysfunctional. And so immediately they take a vote. They never inform their manager. And they fix the problem. And then they inform their manager there was a problem that they fixed. Now that manager is going to be so happy with that. He's going to pass it on to his boss and say, there was a problem, I fixed it. And the one above that will go on to the top and say, there used to be a problem down here, but you don't have to worry about it. It got fixed by the people under me. And suddenly everybody wins, including the consumer. Do you see where I'm going here? Now, that doesn't exist, not really. Now, there are some service companies that are starting to see how it might work and implement systems that are close to it, but not ones where the workers have full and complete control over what they're doing, because they are next to the ones who are consuming. They're putting it in the can and closing the can, so to speak. This is a paradigm that we're going to take wisdom, elegant design, and a new kind of human nature to make it work in a way that is flawless. It's a paradigm you're going to see. It'll have a name, like they all do. It'll be called revolutionary, like they all are. And it'll go through stages of working and not working until they get it right. But when it's done, they will look backwards over the hierarchical system and say, those were the old days. Why didn't we hear this sooner? Why didn't we do this sooner? It's a smart thing. This is evolution. This is evolution at corporate level. You didn't think I'd talk about that. But it's going to be evolution everywhere, not just in New Age esoteric things. Dear ones, we're talking about human nature changing. And in the process, you'll see other things change that make sense. It makes it easier to go from day to day with you, with systems that are far more, would say, compassionate. And that's the word. We recently gave you a channel I want to reiterate because not everyone heard it. One of the things that's going to start changing, this is the third one, is that which you describe as intuition is going to come out of the box. How would you describe intuition right now? Many of you would say that it's the fleeting energy that you may or may not recognize that would help guide you to something that you should know. And quite often, it's missed. It's missed because it's fleeting, because it's not something that sits in front of you that you can analyze. It whisks through your mind, and you say, did I hear that or not? What was that again? And you don't get it again. An evolved human being will start to use intuition, and it's going to get slower. And what that means is it's going to go by slower, and you can look at it and analyze it and know what happened. And because the reason for this is the innate of the body is going to start becoming closer to that which is the consciousness of the body. You won't have to muscle test ever again. What is your blood type? You will say it even though you don't know it. What's happening right now? You'll say it even though you don't know it. What do you think is the dosage of this vitamin? You'll know it. Your body will tell you. It'll be from your lips to the air because it's intuitive. It's not hiding with an innate that is in the background as it is today. Think of this. Today, you could have something like a cancer growing in your body as you sit here, and you will know it. You're not going to know it until something hurts, until something is wrong. Then you're going to go have an examination. Then they're going to run tests. And then a week later, they'll give you the news. You got something growing. Meanwhile, how much time has passed since it started? It seems like it's a system that's broken in the body. It is. That's not how you were designed, dear ones. You were designed for innate to be part of consciousness 24/7. And that is starting to be you. And what that means is that if there's any inappropriate thing in you that would unbalance you chemistry, if there's any disease, is there anything at all, you'll know it on day one. At the same time, your white blood cells know it. You'll know it because you're hooked to it. It won't be a system that is autonomous, that operates in the dark from you. That's what you have today. Did you ever think that was broken? Now you know it is. Not everything is as it seems, dear ones. You got this beautiful body. It doesn't even talk to itself. It will. When you start evolving into this energy we are speaking of, Can you imagine the issues of health that will disappear because you'll know it instantly and you'll know what to do, and the innate will tell you. The balance will come so fast, you'll never see anybody about any problem. You'll know what to do. Can you imagine your healthcare system when you're solving it as you go? There are things you haven't even thought about. Things don't need to get worse on this planet. They don't need to double and triple in their complexity, because things are coming that will solve that. I want to ask you something. Don't you go back 50, 60, 70 years and have an interview with somebody who says, here is what your future is going to be like. And you're going to talk about things like Wi-Fi. And they're going to look at you and say, what-fi? They'll say, I have that at home. It's my stereo system. And say, no, that's not Wi-Fi. That's hi-fi. They'll say, what is it? How do you explain it when they haven't got the internet? How do you explain the internet when they don't have a computer? How do you explain computers when literally everybody's doing things on paper? You do realize, don't you? You launched the missile to the moon. That missile which carried those men without a computer. Not really. All done by hand. And if you started then telling them what Wi-Fi really was after you explained computers and after you explained the internet and you got the Wi-Fi, they're asleep by then, because they'll say, no, that cannot happen. That won't happen. That's impossible. So I've just given you Wi-Fi for the future. That's a metaphor. That's paradigms that you cannot believe because the things that precede them you don't know about. These things will happen slowly and then will then become manifested in the things that I'm describing. Imagine intuition that is connected to innate. You'll stand at a problem and you will expect intuitive answers. And you'll wait for them, and then they'll show up. And that, my friends, is not the way it works today. It's potluck. Sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. Did you know that in DNA, the whole process of innate intuition, all of that, hooked to the pineal, the heart, the brain, the triad that we've talked about before, it needs to have an evolved consciousness for it to work as designed. Right now, it is not working as designed. That was number 3. Number 4 is going to be the hardest one. Dear ones, there's going to come a time when the education for your children is going to be revamped from top to bottom. Totally and completely different than anything that exists on the planet right now. And there will be those of you who say, well, I expect that could happen. But the challenge of making it happen is almost insurmountable. Because an old human nature will not let you go there. The opposition to this is enormous. If you start then changing the way children are taught, you'll have opposition from those parents who say, well, we know how to teach our children. Don't tell us. You'll hit the opposition of ego, of common sense, of the way it used to be, of what people have tried and failed. All of the things that we've told you don't apply. Not in a new energy. There has to be a system that would allow it to be seen so dramatically that there will be no question that it needs to be done. So it's not going to happen all at once. And it may not happen here. Here we go. There will be schools start up that are revolutionary, that are doing everything that the children of a new consciousness need. Everything will be different from the very beginning, preschool to graduation. How fast they learn, what they're given, the camaraderie between them, deciding how fast they will go, the agreements between the children, instead of a hierarchy of teachers and principals, deciding what they're going to learn, when they're going to learn it, and how fast they can go. Completely and totally designed, built, and run by those who have to learn in the chairs. Because they'll have the consciousness of the wisdom to know why they're there, and they'll have control over everything they do. The outcast will be the one who is in the group, who doesn't see that consciousness. They will be thrown out by the others. Not by principle. Not by a teacher. Teaching itself will be something that is a cooperative instead of a student and teacher. There will be an alliance of knowledge, a celebration of things learned, a party given when the tests are passed. All of these things completely and totally opposite from what happens now. What do you think? I ask you to think about this. Is this a doable deal? And you'll say no. It's just fraught with problems of human nature. And I want to tell you that is correct. The old human nature will never allow it. The new human nature gradually will put it in place. And what will cause the great aha is when the students start being graduated from these special schools and they are head and shoulders above anything you've ever seen. They'll pass tests that children can't pass today. They'll qualify for jobs that are not qualifiable today. And governments and cities will look at that and say, we must have this. Let's wipe away the old. That's how it works. You know it does. That's taking advantage of what elegant human nature is going to become. You'll start being motivated toward the things you see that are better and that work. And you will not have in the way the business, the greed, the protocols, all of the things you have now that stop progress will be removed. And that's where you get in trouble. Impossible. You'll call a friend. You got to hear Cryon's channel because he's talking about what you're interested in. And they'll listen to it and they'll say, this is funny. Good luck with that. I'll talk to you in 50 years. We'll see how we're doing. Because you'll laugh and say, well, I didn't believe it could happen, and here it starts. Maybe even before that, dear ones, how fast do you want to move? That's going to be up to you completely. Old souls unite. Unite in wisdom and balance. Old souls unite. You start balancing, getting out of fear, and these things start to take a whole different life. How you treat others, how you react to things that old human nature said, well, this is how humans react, and you don't. Suddenly, you're shamanic in the way you act. You have wisdom with things that people say, well, you shouldn't be acting that way. And you say, well, I am. Because I have peace in my heart, who I am, what's going on in the planet. I sleep better and I'm going to live longer. That's the message for tonight. I just gave you 4 paradigm shifts. Some you believe, some are unbelievable. Just remember, go explain Wi-Fi to an Indian. Then come back. And you will see what I'm talking about. The paradigms of humanity itself are going to move in directions nobody thought. Watch for it. Be ready for it. Old soul, use the wisdom to accept those things that are acceptable and throw away those things that smack of the old energy. There will be those who want to sell you snake oil. That's a metaphor. Here comes a brand new invention and you should have it. And it turns out to be just the old stuff. There will be those who want to climb on the bandwagon of changing consciousness. And you will say, wow, that looks impressive, until you examine the system they have or them themselves. And you'll say, no, it's just repackaged old energy. Watch for this, know the difference. Because when these things start happening, there's a lot who will want to get on board who really are not ready. That shouldn't surprise you, because that in itself is old consciousness. Go from this place different than you came, with knowledge and potentials to think about, with hope for the planet that you might not have had before, and inside with a knowingness that you're in the right place at the right time. Solutions are being developed right now as you sit. All of you listening to this. Solutions for you for the things you came for. And so it is.